Okay, so today what we're going to learn about is being able to communicate, read, and write numbers all the way up into the billions place value in standard form, word form, and expanded form. And to do that, first we're going to go ahead and look at a number in standard form and kind of break it down. Okay, so what we need to understand is that all numbers are composed of digits, and we also need to look at the word period. Okay, so a period is a group of 3 digits separated by a comma. So you'll see in this long number, which goes to the billions period, we have a couple of different periods. So firstly, the first and smallest period is the ones. So the ones period. And within the ones period, we all know that you have the ones place value, the tens place value, and the hundreds place value. As you move into the next period, which is the thousands period, you're going to do the same thing with place values as you did here. Okay, that first digit, as you move into the period, it's going to take on the name of that period. So in this case, we had the first one was ones in the ones period. In the thousands period, the first one is going to be 1,000. Then moving over, it's going to be 10,000, and the third will be 100,000. Okay, so 1, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. You're going to do the same thing each period as you move into the next one, which will be millions. As you would guess, you have millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. And then as we move higher and higher, we will only learn up into the billions, but it does go on. You would have billions, 10 billions, and 100 billions. So to look at this number and write it correctly and read it correctly in word form, we're going to look at it period by period, starting with the greatest period, the largest period. So you want to look in between the commas. Start with the first period, which in this case will be your billions. You're going to look at that number within the period and read it. Here we have 1. So you're going to say 1 and then finish that with which period you're in. So 1 billion. You're going to write a comma, as we did here, draw on there a comma, and move to the next period. So again, in the next period, the number there is, if you're just looking at the number within the comma, within the period, we're going to say that's 600. But it's 600 million. So we've written 600 million. Moving on to the next period, the number within there is 50. So we have 50,000. 1 billion, 600 million, 50,000. And then finally, in the ones, we have 200. Now, you don't have to finish that with saying 200 ones. We just say 200. So there we have standard and word form. To move finally into the expanded form, what you're going to do is you're going to take the value of each digit and add them together to get that number. So if we move, in this case, from right to left, you take a look at the 2. We don't look at the zeros because no matter where a 0 is within a number, its value is 0. So we don't even worry about those. So take a look at the 2. The value of that 2 in this number is not 2 because its place value is not in the ones. Its place value is in the hundreds place value. So it's 2 hundreds. So you would put 200 in there, and then we're going to find the next digit that isn't a 0. Here we have the 5. And the place value with the 5 is in the 10,000s. So we have 5 of those. So that makes 50,000. So we have 200 plus 50,000. The next would be 6, which is in the 100 million place value. So that's 600 million. And finally the billion. Add on the billion. So you have 1 billion plus 600 million plus 50,000 plus 200. And that's how this number is looked at in standard form, word form, and expanded form. So everyone on their desk should have a worksheet that has a couple of blank place value charts. And as we go through our pair work here, if you need a little help, this sometimes can help you get your numbers organized and help you move along if you're having trouble. But what I'm going to do first, before I break you into pairs and let you guys work, I'm going to model what you guys are going to be doing. So in our pairs, everybody will have 2 dice. What we're going to do is we're going to roll that set of dice 6 times, so that we're going to end up with 12 different digits. So you're going to record those digits, and then what we're going to do when we have that number with 12 digits, it's going to give us a number that is in the 100 billions. We're going to take that number, which would already be in standard form, and we're going to convert it to expanded form in the word form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and model that for you now. I'll start off by rolling. Okay, so I have a 6 and a 5. So I'm going to start down in the ones place value and build on that number, continuing to add digits to have it grow. So I had a 6, I had a 5, 4, and a 1. You'll notice when I moved out of the ones period, I added that comma. There's always going to be a comma separating the period, which, if we remember earlier, a period is a group of 3 digits separated by that comma. Okay, so we'll roll again, 3 and 5. We'll separate with the comma again. As we move into the millions place period, we've got a 2 and a 6. Wow, okay, 2 6s. So a 6, another comma as we move into the billions place value, and one final roll will give us a 4 and a 6. Okay, a lot of 6s here. Alright, so what I want you to do when you're in your pairs is I want you guys to take turns rolling the dice. Okay, so either if partner 1 is going to roll 2 dice, and then the next partner will take the next turn, or you guys can each have a dice and roll each turn, whichever you guys decide on. That's fine with me. Okay, so once we have this, let's go ahead and do this. I'll model it for you so you guys feel a little more comfortable doing it. So we're going to look at this in word form. Remember, when we're doing word form, we're going to start at the most, all the way to the left, the highest value in the periods. So we have our billions period. We're going to look at this first at the numbers within the period, 646. Okay, so we're going to write 646. And sometimes, guys, you may feel tempted to put in an and, but it's not necessary, and sometimes it can be confusing, because as we have worked with decimals before, we know that an and can signify that decimal point. So 646, comma, we're moving into a new period. This number, these 3 digits, would be 662. So excuse me, I forgot. What did I forget? To add the period. So 646, get rid of that, billion, 662, and what is it? What do I put? Million. Running out of room, we're going to take a couple lines here on my small board. Moving down into the thousands period, we have 531. And 531 what? Thousands. So 531,000. And then finally, our last period in the ones is 456. So let's look at it, make sure we did this correct. 646 billion, 662 million. Okay, we know from English we need to add something in when we're editing. We put the little triangle there, the little teepee, and insert our word there. So 662 million, 531,456. Okay, and then let's look at expanded form. So what we're doing, we're taking the value of each digit and adding them to each other. So each digit, one at a time. We've got 600 billion plus 40 billion. And take your time, guys. Make sure you're doing enough zeros so that you have those periods in front. Okay, so the billions, millions, thousands, and then finally 3 more. Okay, plus 6 billion. There's the millions, the thousands, and the ones. Plus 600 million. Plus 60 million. Well, that's 6's again. Getting to another row. These, a lot of times you'll have zeros, but when we're using the dice, we can't roll zeros, so we can't skip those digits. So we have 2 million. $500,000. 30,000. 1,000. 400. 50 plus 6. Okay, just taking your time, guys, remembering that each one of these digits, okay, this 5 is not a 5. It's in that 100,000 place value, so it's 500,000. So we're taking those all, and if you were to stack them one on top of each other and add them, that's the number you're going to end up with, okay? Which we've also written in word form, 646,662,531,456. It's a mouthful, I know. So now everybody has their dice. Why don't we go ahead and work in our pairs that we are sitting in, and you're going to roll the 12 different digits and go ahead and do that. Okay, go ahead and begin. Okay, so you guys have already finished one in your second. Okay, let me see. Okay, 1 and 1. I'm going to right over here first. 3 and 1. Remember to put my comma when I enter a new period. 3, 2. 2 and 3. These are my last 2. 5 and 3. Okay. So I'm going to put it into my chart here. Got 3, 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 3, 11. Okay, so I'm going to separate them by the periods. I messed up there. So if I look at the number within the period, 353. Like that, 353. That's billion and comma. Going to millions, but I'm going to write the number first. 223. 223 million. Comma. Now in thousands I have 461. So I'll write 461. And before I put the comma, that's in the thousands. 460,000. And 311. Okay, that was not in the word. And then expanded. Let's see. So 300 billion. So many zeros. Plus 50 billion. So there's millions, thousands, ones. plus 3 billion. Millions, thousands, ones, plus 200 million, thousands, ones, plus 20 million, plus 3 million, thousands, ones. Okay, now we're moving to thousands, 400,000, plus 60,000, plus 1,000, almost there, plus 300, plus 10, plus 1, did it. Okay, good job everyone, great on the pair work there. Looking around the room, everybody seems to be getting the hang of the expanded form and the word form. The only thing I would say is that when you are writing in the word form, I saw a couple times people are rushing. Instead of, let's say, instead of writing 40 billion, 23 million, you might write 43 and then write a 2 and a 3, the actual numbers, and then write million. Got to make sure that everything is in word form when we're doing the word form, okay? But good job. So lastly, guys, now we're going to go back to our seats, and we're going to work individually. We've got about 10 minutes. I think everyone can get this done. I'll start the clock. I'll turn over the hand, and we'll get started. There's 6 problems here, 2 in standard form, 2 in word form, and 2 in expanded form. What I want you guys to do is put each one in the other 2 forms that they are not already. So, for instance, number 1 you'll put in word form and expanded form. Same with 2. Number 3 and 4 you'll put in standard and expanded. And number 5 and 6 you'll put in word form and standard. Okay, raise your hand if you have any questions. I'm going to start the clock now, and then that should be the end of the period, okay? So good luck. Raise your hand if you have any questions.